Hi, this is David Orlofsky with our question and answers short series where we try to answer questions that our readers submit and hopefully, in a short amount of time. Can you record a shir about self-confidence for children who need to say their bar mitzvah drosha? Jerry Seinfeld said once that they did a study and they found the number one fear in America is public speaking. And the second biggest fear is dying. Which means if you're at a levaya, you'd rather be in the box than the one giving the hesped. There are a lot of people who are terrified of public speaking. We put kids through it. We don't have to. By that I mean they can prepare their drosha and then you tell their friends to sing them down, and that's okay. You can sing down a bar mitzvah boy. You can sing down a chassan at Sheva Brachas. You can't sing down someone at their son's bris. Right? My friend Rabbi Frankel was having a bris in MTJ, and he says, Ramesh Feinstein was always very careful. You have to say Dvar Torah at the bris because we have to see whether you're capable of raising this kid or not. So if a kid is mamish, going to be in a panic over it, write him up a thing, let him say the first two lines, let his friends sing him down, and call it a day. Yeah, I really think so, because I don't think that every 13-year-old boy needs to go through this. Yeah. But if they would like to, right, or if to you it's important, which is usually how we make decisions as parents, when you're cold, you put a sweater on the kid. But if it's important to you, so first of all, there are people who specialize in writing drushes and training kids. If there's one of those in your neighborhood, hire him and let him prepare the kid. Otherwise, I would present the boy with a number of topics and see if any of them tickle his fancy. To be clear, it does not, although the minig is to speak about tefillin, it doesn't have to be about tefillin. So for my first son's drasha, I did a whole thing on Birkas Kohanim. Because he says, usually we talk about tefillin because a boy becomes bar mitzvah sas tefillin, but I'm a Kohen. So I start now Birkas Kohanim. I want to say an idea in Birkas Kohanim. So learn through the sugya with them. Make sure they understand it. Then have somebody write it up. And if a kid is nervous, as simple as possible. Use simple words and simple sentences in large print and spaced well. So it's very easy to see. Imagine a teleprompter. So that it's very easy for a kid to be able to read it. Yeah? And then, okay, I'm a speaker. You may not be a speaker, but get somebody who is good at this and read it through for the kid first. So he sees what it's supposed to sound like. He has a little practice. And then have him practice. Let him read it to you. Let him read it to his mother. Let him read it to his brother. Let him read it to his friends. Let him practice reading it. If a person is nervous and doesn't want to say a whole involved pshetel, then keep it to a short Dvar Torah with a bunch of thank yous. Somebody came to me recently and said, my son likes listening to you. And I'm working on his drasha and he says he wants it to be funny. So I helped him put together a drasha that had some jokes in it. It was a funny idea and bringing it across. That was meaningful. And he gave it over and he felt great because that was what he was shooting for. He wanted to work the crowd a little bit and didn't want to just go over and say a pshetel. At the end of the day, whatever he does, say that was great. I mean, unless he passes out in the middle, you know what I mean? Or he suddenly throws up, or he just throws down the papers and bursts into tears and says, I can't, Okay, then he's smart enough to know that he didn't do such a good job. But if you rehearse with him enough, and like I say, if you have any question, I learned by bar mitzvah haftorah from a tape in a conservative synagogue. I did not have anyone teach me the trup. For my ufruf, I had one of my NCS wires who lanes come in and teach me the trup of how to lane the Haftorah. And I practiced the Haftorah. I did this all while running NCSY and putting together Shabbatonim and planning the wedding, 100 things. And this was the first time since my bar mitzvah that I was going to actually read the Haftarah. And just before they called me up, I went over to the rabbi and I pointed to somewhere in the middle of the Haftarah and I said, give out the candy bags at this pasuk because I don't know it so well. And he said, no problem. And so I'm laying the Haftarah. I was doing pretty good at the beginning. And then, of course, they start giving out the candy bags, and it becomes a whole balagan. And I get through those few different ones, and then I end with a big flourish. So you gotta know. If you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. And don't drive anybody crazy. There's an old joke. There was a guy in New York, and he asked someone, how do I get to Carnegie Hall? And he says, practice, practice, practice. And it's the same thing with this. Practice, 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 and then let him do it, and, make sure he doesn't walk over the best lines, make sure that the sentences and the words are things that he understands. And like I say, if you have any doubt, just turn to his friends and go, okay, hit it, boys. And then he can put up his hands in helplessness, say, what could I do? They won't stop singing. Mazel tov, it should go well. This has been David Orlofsky.